So today we'll see how to write very simple macros in VBA to perform a very easy task like displaying values through macros. There are certain dialog boxes in macros which can be used to display values. We'll see that, and we'll see how to display values from the Excel sheet. Okay, many things like this. I'll just go about typing the macros and I'll explain you as I do that. So let me give a comment which describes regarding the macro that I'm trying to write here. So I want to write a macro to display a text value. So as I said, we have a dialog box available in VBA. We will be using that. It's known as message box. So to begin a macro, yesterday I was discussing about the syntax. I showed you an example as well. Now let me show you here. We begin with sub. We give a name to this macro. So I want to give this text. I just a short name describing what this macro is going to do. Next, you have a function named Msgbox. So this is the name of the function that we have got. And you look at this, it has got some parameters to be provided. Prompt is the compulsory parameter. Only if you give a prompt, give a value there to be displayed, it is going to display that in a separate window. Okay, so here message box will ask us prompt, and we also have few more things. I'll discuss these parameters in the later stages when we are going to work on complex things. So here I'll use it to display text. I'll say this is my fourth VBA session. So I just want to display this. Since I'm displaying a text here, I have to give this in double quotes. So this is the prompt parameter. Once I'm done with it, once I have given this, you see, I need to place the cursor within the macro. I'll tell you what are the different ways to execute the macro. Yesterday, I showed you, you can click on this button. It's called the run button. Either you can use this. Okay, this is one way to do. And the other way is, let's go me back. You can also use the shortcut F5. This also does the same thing. You also have other options by going to developer. I guess you're able to see the screen. Let me
Right.
show you. See, you need to go to developer tab. You need to click on macros over here. See, when you click on it, it will display all those macros that you have written in the current file. See, it also displays macros in all open workbooks. You can choose the workbook which you are working is this one. So these were the macros which we worked yesterday. It is listing that as well. Currently, this is the macro I wrote. I want to execute it. I'll choose that. I'll say run. This is also another way of executing the macro. Apart from all this, we can assign the macro to some objects like shape, an image, or a button. So these things, let me show you. They all work in the same manner. I'll go to insert tab. I'll take shapes here. One of the shape. I'll just take this. I'll say display text. So now just increase the text so that it is visible to you. Now the shape is ready. I'll right click on this. I'll choose assign macro. So you can assign any macro that you have written within this workbook. You can choose any macro that you want to execute when you click on this button. I'll choose this disp text. I'll close, say OK. You can click on it and the macro will execute. These are the many ways in which you can execute your macros. First thing, keeping your cursor in the macro that you have written in the VB editor and clicking on the run button, or keeping your cursor in the macro that you have written and pressing F5. The other way is to go to developer tab in the Excel sheet. You can choose macros option in the code group. It will display the list of macros that you have written. You can choose the code that you want to run, the macro name, and you can click on it. Or you could assign the macro that you want to execute to any shape or object, and when you click on it, it will execute. These are the different ways in which you can execute any macro. Okay, now let me show you other simple programs over here. So we saw how to display a text. Now let me show you how to display a number. Okay, I'll just make a copy of this. So don't be lazy like me. Okay, I expect you to type it. Only when you type these
And
programs, you will be able to remember it well. Yes, Deepak, tell me.
ma'am, you have not given the name of any sheet, ma'am. In the
Yes, we
macro, then
have not given any sheet because I am using Msgbox function. See, this dialog box will appear on any sheet that is open. Okay, it is not related to any sheet. That is the reason I have not used the sheet name here.
okay, but it will be, suppose there are two workbooks, so it will be displayed on which workbook, ma'am? Third
Whichever is
workbook, ma'am.
active, whichever is active. That's what I'm telling you. This is a separate window that appears. Message box is a separate dialog box.
Now, which sheet is active now?
Now, currently, you see, let me show you. Sheet 3 is active. Now, let me click on sheet 1 and I'll execute it from the code window, that is VB editor. I'll go here, I'll comment it. For time being, I'll comment this part. Now, I'll run this. You see, it displays on sheet 1. Whichever sheet is active, it's going to display on that. This is a separate window, guys. This has nothing to do with any sheet that is kept open. Okay. This is a separate window that is appearing. So you need not mention on which sheet it has to appear. Is that clear? Okay. Now let me uncomment this. See, I want to display a numeric value. I can just go and type any number I want. Let's say I want to display this number in the message box. I type that number, then you run it. See, this throws an error named ambiguous name detected. In the same module, you can't use same name to two different macros. You should always give different names to different macros that you write. So here I'll change it to this number. Now I'll place the cursor here, I'll press this. See, it is going to display the number over here. You can also use this to display, let's say, a simple calculation like macro to display calculated values. So sub, I'll say disp. Disp is just a name, guys. You can give any name over here, but I'm trying to give something which is meaningful and describes what my macro is doing. So it has nothing to do with the way your macro is executing. How your macro executes is all dependent on what you write inside that. This is just a label given to your macro so that you will identify that macro by the name that you have provided. Okay. So if you have provided some meaningful name, it will help you identify it rather than giving program 123 or some random name which doesn't make any sense. So give something meaningful like this. So again, I need to give message box. So here I can directly give a calculation that I want to perform. I'll say 34 into 75. I want this to be displayed in the message box. Let's say I'll run it. It gets displayed here. The result is being displayed. See, along with this, I would also like to display this as a text there. Why as text? See, if I directly give this, it's going to show me the calculated value. I would like to know which are the two numbers that I have multiplied and for what is being displayed the result. So I'll say macro to display text along with the calculated values. Macro to display text along with calculated values. So sub disp text and calculated value. Let's say I use this as the name to my macro. So here again you need to provide message box. You need to provide this as text so that it doesn't get calculated and displays what is required over there. After this I'll say 34 into 75. Along with this, see this is a text value and this is some calculation that we want to perform. Now it throws me a syntax error because, so you look at this, both cannot be in the same line without this ampersand symbol. It confuses with the operation that is taking place. So you need to provide the text, use this ampersand symbol so that they are concatenated with the value that is going to get after the performance of multiplication. Now let me run this. See now it says 34 into 75 equals 2550. So this is how you can use the dialog box that is available in VBA to display some message like this. It could be text value. When I say text, it could be anything that is printable. Even number can be displayed like that. We just saw that. Okay. And alphanumeric or only text. So you can use it. If you are printing only numbers, there is no need of any double quotes. You can give that directly. And also the calculation, if you are performing any math operation, you don't need to provide any double quotes. So if you provide double quotes, it will print exactly the way you have given here. So you saw this, it is displaying this exactly as the way we have provided, and for this it is displaying me the result of it. Let me run this again. You can see here it displays exactly what we have provided. 34 multiplied by 75 equal to. So till here we had given it in double quotes. That's what is being displayed. Okay. So is it clear till here? Using message box function and displaying different kinds of values in VBA. Any doubts here, guys?
Oh, well, clear.
Clear. Yeah. So this is again very simple macros. So next part I would like to show you how to display these again from an Excel sheet. So the same values, if I give it in an Excel sheet, I want to display that using the Excel sheet value. So let me give some values here. So let's say I'll give a number, I'll use text. Whatever I've provided here, I wanted to display using the same message box function. Now I'll say calculated values. So I'll just give two numbers here and say, so let's say the result should be displayed in the next cell over here. You can use this so that the calculation should appear here. Okay. You can also display the calculation in the message box. We'll see both. We'll see both. So number that I want to display is this one, and the text that I want to display is number greater than 6000. Just took a random text, you can display anything as such. Okay, we are seeing how to use the Excel sheet values within the macro and how to display them using message box function. So here whatever we provided are known as hard coded values. So when I say hard coded values, they are not dynamic. See, whatever you have provided in the program, it's going to display. you cannot what to say, in order to change the result the way it is displaying, you should go back and change the macro itself. But currently what I am trying to do, whatever is stored in these cells, that I am trying to display using message box. So if I change the value of these cells, even the result that appears will also change. Now let me show you that. Macro to display text value from Excel sheet. So this is the description. I'll say sub again this Excel text. I'll give this. I'll give message box. So here we need to provide the address of the cell. Which cell has to be displayed? Which cell's content has to be displayed here? So we'll go back. See, we have given these values in sheet 1. I'll take the code name of this sheet and look at the address. Text value is given in D5 of sheet 1. So the code name and Excel name both are same for me. I'll give that here. Sheet 1 range of. So now we know the cell address D5. Give the cell address and I would like to display the value present in that cell. So I'll choose this. After I'm done with writing, I'll use this execute button. Now it is going to display the value present here in the cell. Now let me say OK. Now again, I'll change the value in this cell. I'll just say change the number. I just want to display this text. Now you run it again, you see the change. Okay, whatever you provide in that cell, that will be displayed now. Now let me show you number for this. I'll just copy the same. So here, let me take number. And you need to change the name of the macro also. Don't forget this. So initially I showed you because you might encounter such errors. You need to know how to tackle it. So this is in D3. I need to change the cell address as well. Just go here, change the cell address to D3. That's where we have provided the number. Let me execute it now. See, 6554. So even over here, if I now go and change the number that we have, it will display that number, whatever you have changed to. So it is essentially taking the address. It is referring to that cell. So whatever is present in that cell, it is going to display to me. It a little dynamic in nature. Rather than going and giving the numbers directly like this, I would prefer to use the cell address. So let's go to the next part. So here I would like to show you calculation using message box again. Display multiplication, or let's say sum of numbers in, let me take this. So I'll show you two ways. One, directly displaying it using message box function, and how to print this answer on the cell itself. Let's see both. So I'll say this sum, and I'll say message box. See, I have to add these two numbers now. Let's say C7 and D7. I need to provide the address of both the cells along with the property that I am using. So both the cells address has to be provided separately. So sheet 1 range of C7 dot value plus, I'm using this, and then next cell address. It should be added with the next cell. The address of that is D7 dot value. I want this to be displayed in the message box. So I have provided that function here. And let me run this. See, 1312. When you add these two numbers, this is the result that is going to appear. Now suppose I want to print the values directly on the Excel sheet. I want the sum to be printed directly on that sheet. I'll write a separate macro for it to print sum of numbers. Say it's up, print sum. Okay. Now I'll give in which cell it has to be printed. You have to first provide the receiving cell. The result cell has to be mentioned. And what should be the result? That should be assigned later. See, over here we need to print the result in E7 by adding C7 and D7. So first E7 address has to be provided, location where it has to be printed. I'll give the address of E7 like this, sheet 1 range of E7 dot value. Its value should be equal to, again, sheet 1 range of C7 dot value plus, again, sheet 1 range of D7 plus value, dot value. So after you give this, see, when I press F5, it would have performed the addition. To see the result, you need to go to the Excel sheet. You can see here the same result has been printed. Suppose I change this number, I'll give 78 again. I'll go back and run this program again. I have executed pressing F5. Let's go back to Excel sheet to see the result. See, it changes. Okay, clear on this part how to use the Excel sheet to perform the same action what we did using Msgbox, hard coding values and cell address. Any doubts here, guys?
Yeah.
Clear. Okay. See, again, I'm reiterating the statement. Currently, you're learning very basic, very easy programs. So I can say one-line programs. See, this is just like you're learning ABCD of the programming in VBA. So you might wonder, why should I write a program to add two numbers when I can use some function and those things? Yes, you can, but let's say you have to think about the bigger picture always. Suppose I told you to write a macro which copy pastes 100 files into one single file. So you need to first know how to copy and paste, correct? So that's what we are doing. So every step of it you need to understand to write a macro. That's the reason we are breaking it down to very minute macros, and then we'll you will see that the same macros, the same line of codes will be included in the complex macros that we'll be learning in the later classes. Okay, is that clear?
Ma'am, you have told that I have this few minutes back that you need to handle the error also. So
I am just showing you what kind of error you might encounter. Okay, so we have a separate chapter on error handling.
but here the code which you have written, here there is no scope of any error, right?
I
Because it's
showed you where you might go wrong by in naming of the macros, or let's say in the syntax error if you have not provided a proper syntax. So these are some minute errors that you will get. So there are other major errors as well. Okay. So we have a separate chapter on that, Deepak. We'll discuss about all kinds of errors that you get.
anyways, I mean, if we give by the name, the error will not come in the method. We can give any name, right?
I didn't
And
get
we can
you.
give. There is no set standard that of nomenclature of naming any macro. You can give any name to macro, no? I
You
mean,
can
it's
give
for
any name to a macro provided it follows the rules that I explained to yesterday. It has to begin with an alphabet, no special characters, no VBA keywords. So if it follows those rules, yes, you can provide any name. There is no set rules to provide a name to your macro. But what I recommend is provide something meaningful so that even when you refer to it later, or if you're providing these macros to someone else, it should be meaningful enough to understand why they have written it or what that macro is going to do. Okay.
so, ma'am. One last thing, ma'am. Ma'am, when you had typed the final value in the cell, so in
Yes.
that case, you are going to the Excel sheet to see that the value is coming or not. But when you were displaying the same value in the message box, it was that sheet was opening itself on its own.
Yes. Yes. It is like that because the message box functions like that. Okay. The message box function is going to result in that way. For any changes that you apply to Excel sheet in your macro, you need to go yourself, navigate to Excel sheet and check the result. It doesn't take you to Excel sheet automatically. Okay, only for message box and there are some other functions. For those, it will take you automatically to the Excel sheet, the window of the Excel. Otherwise, like what we saw here, printing the sum of two given cell values, so you have to go manually check it in the Excel sheet. Or I said, you, you could also insert, assign this macro to a shape over there and perform addition then and there and check it. Now let me show you that also over here. So I'll take, so we have a shape here, I'll use the same. I'll copy this, I'll paste it here. So I'll say sum and I'll assign macro to it. So here we have this print sum. I need to assign that. Just say okay. Say I'll change number here. You click on it, it will change it. You need not go to VB editor at all. So these are different ways in which it is going to execute the macro. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Now let me show you a few more simple programs here. So let me show you how to copy paste. Okay, how to copy and paste values within your Excel sheet. So how to copy paste from cell to cell, range to range, sheet to sheet, and all the other paste special options that we have in Excel. All these things can be done through your macros as well. Almost all tasks that you can perform in Excel manually can be written as a macro as well. Okay, you can write that as a macro. Now let me show you that. So this is a macro to copy paste cell. I'll just say CP cell, that would be much shorter. Copy paste cell.
Ma'am, actually, I mean, going to follow how you created that button, ma'am. I mean, how that button was created, ma'am.
Let me show you that. After writing this, I'll show you how to run this. Okay.
I mean, how did you assign? I got, but how did you create the button? I just forgot. Did you use
You
a
can go to insert, take shape. You can take any shape and assign a macro to it.
okay. I thought it was from user form module or something like that.
No, no, not required. You can use a shape like this and you can assign it. Not compulsory that you need to go through a user form for that. Okay, you can use these shapes and assign macro to it. Fine. Okay. So now I have a cell like this. I'll say VBA class. Now I want to copy this cell from which is there in C12 in sheet 1 and paste it in the same sheet onto a different cell. Let's say K7. I want to paste it there. copying from C12, I want to paste it in K7 of the same sheet. I'm trying to show you how to copy paste cell from one cell to another cell. Sub CP cell. So here you need to first provide the address of the cell that needs to be copied. Sheet 1, range of C12 is our cell. Now I'm going to use copy. So if you observe something here, all this while whatever macros I taught you, we just use the property of the cells that we had, property of an object. Now here for the first time I'm showing you how to use a method. Copy is a method because we are performing an action on that object. That is, we are trying to copy the cell value. So it is a method. Okay. I want to paste it. Even pasting is also a method. So you can say sheet 1 range of, I said I want to paste it on K7. I'll give this. Then there's no paste here in VBA. You can use paste special for that. So if you use this, now you have given the copy method and also paste method, where it has to be pasted and from where it has to be copied. Both are provided. Now let me execute it. See, go back. Now you can check it has copied from here, it has pasted it. Now let me show you how to paste it from one range to another range. Now let me say I want to copy this entire range from C3 to E7. I need to copy and I want to paste it over here. Let me paste it down. I10. So copy from C3 to E7 and paste it over here at I12. Macro to copy paste range. Okay, so here you begin with this sub CP range. Copy paste a range. So you need to provide the address again. Sheet 1 range of CC3 to E7 is the address of all those cells that I want to copy. And see, while pasting, you provide only one cell as the address. You don't exactly mention how many cells it has to be pasted. That's not required. So how you usually copy paste? You copy paste the cells. You copy the cells. You just choose a location where it has to be pasted. You don't say it has to be pasted like this. No. You just choose a cell location. That's what we are going to do over here. I'll go back and say sheet 1 range of, let's say I12. That's where I want to paste. Let's say paste special. When I run this, you need to check by going back to the sheet. See, it's pasted now at I12. It copied from C3 to E7. So this was from one range to another range. Now let me show you other things. From one sheet to another sheet. Now let me choose the same range of cells C3 to E7, which is getting copied from sheet 1. Now I want to paste it in a different sheet. I'll just change the sheet address and the cell address where it has to be pasted. Macro to copy paste in different sheet. So I'll say sub copy paste different sheet. So again, we'll choose the same range of cells. See, looking at the programs, so you might feel easy. I expect you to work on them as soon as possible because these programming languages are very volatile in nature. You might feel it's so easy, you can do it anyways. Okay, it will evaporate from your mind in the same speed. So my suggestion, you should work on it if you have to learn it quickly. Okay, and the more strong you are in your basic programming, you will understand the complex programs much better, because you will be knowing the syntax, the methods, properties, these things, so you will be able to apply it really quick. Now I want to paste it in sheet 2. Let me take you here. So I would like to paste it in D6 of sheet 2. I'll give the address here, D6. Just say paste special. Now run the macro. I press F5. I'll go back to the sheet. You can see the values have been pasted here. From sheet 1, it has copied, and in sheet 2, it has pasted at D6, exactly where we provided. So this was in different locations and different amount of the cells being pasted. So we first saw how to copy paste a single cell, a range of cells, and we changed the location, how exactly to paste it in a different sheet. So there is more to it. We'll see how to use paste special options that are available in Excel. I hope you know that. Let me show you. See, if I copy a cell for pasting, you could use paste special option in Excel. So you can use all these options in VBA as well. We'll see how to use them in VBA. Okay. Now for that, I need to have certain data for to perform all such things. Now let me give that here, and then I'll show you how to use the paste special option for it. Now copy paste as values. To first show that, I'll prepare some data quickly. Now let's say this is product name, units, price, and let's say total. I'll use this. I'll zoom the sheet a little. You will be able to see that easily. I'll quickly provide this data and just say product 1, or let's say 2001, and quickly create this mock data. So I have some units. I'll use a formula here to quickly get some, or you can also give some numbers like this. Let's say okay, so now I'll use some numbers to fill in. And the price as well. I'll use some price like this. Okay, so now over here I'll give the formula just to multiply this quickly. Unit into this. I'll copy paste this and I'll quickly apply formats to these cells. So let's go take here. I'll just choose this to quickly apply. Now our data is ready. Now let me apply some number formats as well. So for this, I'll give 1,000 separator. I'll also give some currency symbol. And even for price, I'll go here and provide the same. Okay, so now we are prepared for the data. So now I'll show you how to copy paste it as values, formulas, and how it will affect your result. Let's see that. So here in this range, I would like to show you paste values right below this. I want to copy from B4 to E14 and paste it at H4. Let me show you that. And yesterday you were asking something, no, Deepak? So why this? You can see that it displays all the macro names. I can easily go to any macro just by clicking on it. So today we have more number of macros to show you this. Okay. So let me show you that macro to demonstrate paste as values. So here you need to first copy the cells in order to paste it. I'll say CP copy paste as values. So the range is sheet 2. So now we have the data in a different sheet. I need to consider sheet 2. That's where my data is present. So I have to select from B4 to E14. Just go here. Just provide the range. Range B4 to E14 dot copy. You're going to copy this and we are pasting it in the same sheet over here. You can now choose to paste in a different sheet also, not a problem. Now I want to paste it in H4. That's where I want to paste it. So H4 dot paste special. See, now it's not only paste special. I want to provide some option that we have in paste special. So either you can open brackets like this, or you could also give a space. It will give you this IntelliSense option. You can see here it will provide you a huge list that are the options that are available. Not only this, you can also see some parameters here. First thing is the type of paste that you want to perform. Next, if you want to perform some calculation using paste special, skip blanks, transpose, we'll be discussing everything over here one by one. Okay. Now I want to provide Excel paste as values. I'll choose this. I'll execute this. I'll click F5. I'll go back to the sheet. Now you can see it has pasted only the value part of this data. So Excel allows you to paste only the value part. When I say values, all the number formats, all the cell formats are removed from your data, and what are the exact values that are available to us in the cells, they are displayed. Even your formulas will vanish when you paste it as values. Now let me show you. If I paste as formula, what will be the difference? Now it has to be pasted in M4. Now let me take the same example. I'll copy this just to show you quickly. Otherwise, I suggest you to please type the macros so that you will remember it. The more you write, the more you remember. The more often you use them, you will remember it better. See, I change the macro name. So even here, I'll change the option of paste special. Say paste as formulas. So I'll change the address to M4. If I run this now, go back to sheet to check it. See, it looks exactly the same, but you can see here by selecting the cell in total column, this formula is retained. Formulas are not removed. But over here, when we paste it as values, there is no formula present. Now over here, we have got formulas. And again, don't assume when I say formulas, only cells with formulas will be pasted. Nothing like that. If I have copied a range of cells, in whichever cells the formulas are present, that will be retained. Rest of the cells, If you don't have any formula, whatever data is present, the same thing is pasted over there. Okay. So next I want to show you paste as formats. Paste formats. So when I say formats, there are two types. One is cell format, the other is number format. Number format you're already seeing here. The rupee symbol, thousand separator, all these are number formats that we have applied. Cell formats are the border to cells, cell color, making bold the font as bold, changing the font color if at all you have a different font color, those things. Now if I want to quickly apply formats to any data over here, I could do that. Okay, let me show you on a separate range first how exactly it works. Now where do we have to paste it? It's in R4. Let me take that. Again, I want to show you how to copy paste only the formats of the cells and numbers also. So paste as formats. I'll also change the macro name, and over here the option of the paste special as well, and I'll change the cell address to R4. Now if I execute this, you can see only the cell formats and the number formats have been given. Now how to check number formats are there or not? Just go here and give a number greater than 1000. It will show you that. So even over here it would have applied. Okay, so even the number formats have been taken. You can quickly apply formats by copy pasting it as formats. If you have copied a range of cells with formats, only if your source has got a format, you will see even in the destination the same format is applied. If there is no format in your source data, nothing will appear when you paste it as formats elsewhere. Okay, it's essential your source data has got it. Now whatever range of cells we copy, that's known as source, and where you paste it, that's known as destination. Okay,
The
now let
formulas are retained in the formats also.
that I'll show you that first.
But
I'll show
here,
you. Only when you paste it as formulas, Deepak, number formats will not be retained. In order to retain the number formats and the formula that you have written, you need to paste it as formulas and number formats. There is an other option for it. You need to choose that. Now when you say paste as formulas, so only the formula part is retained. The format applied on the numbers will be vanished. Okay.
because in the normal copy paste of a spreadsheet, when we click on keep source formatting, then the formulas and the formats both are retained actually.
That's what I'm
It asks,
telling you. There is a different option for it.
okay.
When you copy, so let me copy and show you here. So I'm doing it manually. I'll copy. I want to paste it. I'll use paste special. So there are two different options. One is formulas and the other is formulas and number formats. You need to choose this in order to paste it along with the number formats. Okay. So here we don't have any numbers. That's the reason it's showing 0. Okay, but it has retained the number formats. Can you see this? And also the formula is present. Now if I give any numbers here, it will display. You understand? There are different options for it. You need to provide that in order to see the difference. Otherwise, you don't see it. Clear? So I am showing that one by one. So here, let me show you how to copy paste column width. So currently, I'll copy paste the entire data. Let's say I'll choose. Okay, let me take the same H17, the same column. Let's copy and paste it exactly the way it is and see how it works. So when you copy paste, you know what happens. I would like to show you how to copy paste only the column width. I'll show you that. Or you can display it on this also. Currently, there is no requirement to display it that way. You can see here, so the column width is very less compared to your source data. This is quite less. Now, if I have to give the same width as my source data, I can copy this, only this part, and I can paste only the width of the columns. I only want the width to be pasted so that we have the same width of columns there. Let me show you that. Macro to demonstrate paste column width. Okay, so here I need to say CP column width. I'll just copy few cells that is on top. All those cells whose width is required for me. Let's say from range B4 to E4. That's enough because columns matter. We don't require to copy the entire range here. E4 dot copy. So I want to paste the width on this cell, that is M4. I want to paste the width. Now currently you can see the product column. Let me reduce it more so you will understand much better how what happens when you paste the column width. Now I'll paste the width on M4. You see what difference will it make to that particular range of cells. I'll say M4 and paste special. Over here I need to choose column width and press F5. It is executed now. Check the result. You can see the same width as that of my source data is provided to these cells also. Only the width is pasted. Okay, no change in the data that is present there. I have tried to paste only the width to get the same width of the cells that I copied. So next we'll see how to copy paste values and number formats, formulas and number formats. Anyways, this wasn't required because Deepak asked. I want to demonstrate that as well. Paste values and number formats. Now let me copy this. H18 is where I have to paste it, and let me copy where we gave copy paste as values. I'll just copy that. I'll take the same copy of macros over here. Values and number formats. I'll give this. I'll change the macro name. So even here, you need to choose a different option. So here you have to choose values and number formats. And when you press F5, you can see the change here. Oh, sorry guys. And this is one more thing. You cannot undo that you have performed through macro. Okay. Once you execute the macro, whatever action that you have performed, it cannot be undone. Okay. Once it's done, it's done. That's all. Let me copy paste it as values. I forgot to change the cell range, so it pasted right here. The formats are applied. Let me clear it. Now you can see that. Now here let me paste it with the number formats. You will see the difference. So this should be H18. and run this, you can see here it has pasted values along with number formats, but you don't see any cell formats getting applied here. There is no border, cell color, those things are not available, but the number format is carried to the cells where you are pasting it. Same thing happens with the formulas also. When I say paste formulas and number formats, let's say, so in M18 I would like to paste it. I'll choose this macro where we used formulas, paste it. So here I'll say formulas and number formats, and I'll change the macro name also, and here I'll change the option as well. Okay, now I have to change the cell address as well. M18, press F5, you can see it would have retained the formulas as well along with the number formats. Okay, so there are a few more options that I would like to discuss. We'll continue from tomorrow's class. So I'll cover the remaining copy paste options that we have that we can perform using VBA. Okay, so I'll stop the session till here for this day. Okay,
Well,
just a minute.